All right, family, welcome back to Curious Creations. You're here for episode number 3 of a series that I'm calling The Good, Bad, and Ugly. In this series, I'm actually going through the past year and I'm showing you just those categories. Now, I'll be honest, as I've progressed along the way, the good stays good. The bad and ugly, they elevate a little bit. Now, there's still some ugly out there. There's definitely still some bad out there as I've experimented along the way with different materials, different profiles, different designs, and my skills changed a little bit as well. Also using some different tools. Let's change up the profile a little bit. I'm going to go just as spoken. I'm going to start with the good and with the ugly. So, starting off with the good is this guy here. This one I can say is a fun blade. What I really like about it is the overall design and profile. I came in with a very straight back edge, and that definitely excites me. It comes to a very sharp point there, and it's got a fun and sort of intimidating look to it. I love the way that turned out. Um, I like the choil here. I love the handle material. I actually went with maple for the first time. And I also went with some pins that I'd never used before. And I went with a mosaic pin, much more decorative pin here. This one you can see has some copper and brass elements to it. And I think that worked really well with the color of the maple handle. The comfort is there. It gives me just what I need to get a index finger, middle finger, and a ring finger on, with the pinky sort of holding on to that back edge, that little cutout there, hanging on to that. So looking at that little cutout, it's got a slight little divot you can see there. That's where the pinky rests. So I can get 3 and a little bit of a fourth finger on there and comfortably hold the knife and actively use it however I might want to. So those are all the really good elements that I think came out of this blade, and what really excited me about it. Let's talk now about what I don't like. There's not a lot. There's definitely there's a few imperfections. So I didn't get a very good grind in there and sand that smooth. There's a little divot here as well. What I don't like on this knife the most is the grind. So I went in with a compound grind that didn't move very far from the edge there, and I think the choil is just not very uniform as well. Again, this is early on. I think I was using an angle grinder to get that grind in. You can tell there it's not symmetrical at all, and it doesn't really carry a very nice shape. But I think the overall look of this knife, this one definitely provides me with that good feeling. These are all also neck knives. So this one here, just getting a quick measurement. This one's the largest of the 3 we're going to show today. This one comes in at 6¼ inches with a blade length of about 3. I did make sheaths for these, but this is about the blade, not the sheath. So I think actually in the next video, if you stick around for the next one, I'm actually going to produce a new knife, likely using saw blade material again in a different design. But I'm actually going to walk you through how I made the sheath as well. But yeah, not about the sheath, about the blade. That was the good. Let's move on to the bad. I think that is going to have to be this little guy. Let's bring in the measuring tape again. This one, very small at 5¼ the full knife length. And then looking at the blade length at just 2 inches. This one, I'll tell you why it's bad. I don't like this drop point that I put in there. It's just too steep, falls off so fast. I wish that was a little bit better. And being the length that this entire knife is, I would have liked to see the blade length maybe just a 1/4 inch longer. And I think it started off that way, and then as I tried to refine it, kind of play around with it, it got shorter and stubbier. But there's nothing wrong with short and stubby. That sounds like me. All in all, I think this blade is definitely not what I was looking for. The grind you can't really see very well, but the grind does come out to a nearly full grind and sort of stops just along the edge there. I will say that it is more symmetrical than the last, but in the same, it doesn't have the same depth there along the backside of the knife there. I don't necessarily like the way that this curves in. I feel like that just gives you the potential for a finger to slip and fall off onto the sharp edge. Not a lot of grip in there. But being such a small knife and so lightweight, I think it does still give you the freedom to know that you've got this secure. What I do like about it is the way that the handle feels and the handle design. So giving it those arches that I'm familiar with and a place for three fingers to fall comfortably on the knife with the pinky sort of falling off the edge. Um, this one I think is a comfortable little knife, but then again, it's still not my best work. What I did do here is experiment for the first time with the handle material and pen material. So this one was an oak material that I was familiar with, but I actually burned it to try and get this dark look, and I stained it. I think the color turned out kind of nice. I like this side definitely better when it comes to the grain profile than this side. Again, that's not something that I was looking for this early on in my creations. Now I know to look for those patterns on my scales and get them to where I want them. Um, but I did burn this as well, and in the process of burning it, you can see it created some really sharp divots there, and on this side they're quite pronounced, so much that I can get a fingernail in there, and I could probably start picking away at that handle if I wanted to. Not my favorite, not my favorite material, not my favorite production, but nonetheless, it was an experiment. The other thing I experimented with was the pins. These are actually copper tubes that I found at like Home Depot or Menards in the plumbing section, and I was able to snip them down and make some hollow tubes. I do like the hollow pin, and I've got that in a few later knives that turned out really nice. So this was the first time I used them. I do like the way that turned out. I don't like the positioning. This one should not be so high up on the blade, and this one down here shouldn't be where it's located. It should be a little bit lower, and they're both just a little too close to the backside. Again, not a lot of material to work with because it's so small, but I like the pins, just not the location. Also, you can see this, the grind's just not consistent. There's a lot of scratches in there as I was sort of learning to clean up around the handle. Um, yeah, didn't work out very well, but it is what it is. Now, on to the ugly. That has to be this little guy. We're going to go ahead and grab the tape measure again, bringing that out. This one also comes in at 5¼ inches in full knife length, and the sharp edge of the blade is maybe 2 1/8, if not 2 itself. This one, let's start with what I like, and then we'll start to beat it up a little bit. What I do like about it is the girth that I was able to get. Because it's such a short and stubby blade, the profile of the handle was important to me. So I'm able to get 2 fingers onto the handle comfortably, and the girth gives my middle finger something to really hold on to. This gives you that little crevice for the index finger. And then there's this little divot here on the end that I created for the third finger to just fall in. So I can still get a decent grip on there, and it's a comfortable-ish functioning knife. Now, on to all of the ugly. This one was an experimenting knife. This one started off with paracord handle. I had not learned the skill of gluing and pinning our handle scales on. So this started off with paracord, and that didn't look very good. So I actually graduated a little bit there. The pins, I used brass pins, and I don't like the locations. They're not aligned with the back, and they're just in odd positions. This one's just so close to the most narrow part of the handle, and I don't know why I created it that way, but I did. And then this one's right there in the middle of the blade. Now, had these two just fallen down a bit, I think that that would have looked better. And if they had been equally spaced from the back of the handle there, that would have looked a lot nicer. The other thing is this choil is just entirely inconsistent. I think in the first iteration of this knife, that sharpening choil was not even there. This kind of went straight up, and I thought about it, and I was like, that's just dangerous. There's not much in here for your index finger to fall into, so it could have slipped up and fallen right across the sharp edge of the blade. So at least there was a little something to give you a distance there from the sharp edge. The blade profile, something that I did um, actually enjoy, the sort of cleaver looking style of it with the sheep's foot. The grind here, very inconsistent yet again. There's even a little divot here, if you can see that. There's some scratches along the way. And there's also this little, let's see if there's a way you can see it here. It almost looks like it comes to a sharp edge right there as well, because these are beveled in just like that back bevel there. So yeah, this is the ugly knife. This is one that definitely went through multiple iterations before it landed here at a point where I just decided it was done. I was done playing with it. But yeah, that is the collection for today. So just to really recap, we've got our good, we've got our bad, and we've got our ugly. And yeah, that's that. Family, I appreciate you sticking around watching the good, the bad, and the ugly of my last year. I definitely appreciate you being here. Please do jump down, subscribe, and like. And jump in the comments, tell me what you like and don't like about these blades that I showed you already. And then also tell me what you want to see me make. I'm actually going to jump out into the shed here and start making some knives as we kind of get into the winter weather. I actually got one coming out here within the week. So please do look out for more.